Hello.
Oh, I should probably mute the. There we go. No, no good to listen to myself talk twice.
No.
No.
Patatas!
There he
Looking
is.
so much more healthy than the one on telly.
Yikeroo.
Oh my
I
goodness.
have I have a I have a Crookshanks that looks a lot like Patatas. I'm not gonna go get him because I'm not wearing pants.
Me neither. What was that? I just got. Oh, fuck off, Thunderbird. Okay, so. How's moving?
Well, it's awful. I'm so tired.
Same.
Going from working 2 weeks at camp to going getting home at midnight, immediately waking up at 5 a.m. for a full week of work and moving during the full week of work in my free time was not a good decision. But we're
No.
here, as you can see, our new place.
Yay.
We really like it so far, which is great. And you can see lots of natural light during the daytime. So yeah, it's really nice. The only thing we have left is putting art up on the walls, which is gonna take like a whole week basically, because
Yeah, you gotta
as
curate that
y'all
shit.
know, we have a lot of art to put up on the
Yes.
walls.
I went to a
So
protest yesterday.
yeah, how'd
It was
that go?
it was scary.
I bet.
But I did it. Someone on the town council asked me to go take photos, and this morning I went through the few that I took on my digital camera, and they suck. But
Oh.
I but I tend to have better results on film anyway, so now I just need
Hmm.
to develop 10 rolls of film.
Exciting.
Yeah, I'm very tired too.
Yeah. Apologies to the listeners slash watchers if we're both kind of out of it.
Low energy, yes, anyway.
Oh, and but also like our internet didn't even work until yesterday.
Rude.
And yeah, so we had like a whole week without internet. So I'm not caught up on Ed's podcast, although I only have like 5 minutes left of it. I'm not caught up on our group chat messages. I haven't even gone into the new episode chatter. So I don't know what everybody else is saying.
well,
So
well
hopefully we'll cover everything, but we'll
you've
see.
seen the episode. You know that there's going to be too much to catch up on.
Yeah.
And as such, the my subtitle for my notes is "What in the actual fuck."
I really liked this
This
episode.
was a good episode.
I think honestly that this episode was one of the most joyous episodes ever. Like there was so much giggling,
Oh
there
my
was so
god,
much
I loved
laughter,
it.
there was so it just felt this episode felt like if I was introducing somebody to Taskmaster, like this is one of
Yeah,
the episodes that I'd be like, watch this, and you're
yeah,
gonna feel so much joy from watching this episode.
and also right at the top, I am going to acknowledge that there were leaked outtakes. I don't know if you watched them. I did
I
watch them.
did. I did watch
Um,
them.
I'm not going to spoil anything. We're not going to really talk about them. That said, I do think there will be a third outtake video because it seemed to me like every single one of the unseen outtakes was from this episode.
The I feel like there were more that we
Cause,
didn't.
cause the second time I was watching it, I was specifically looking for them, and
Oh,
I
okay.
think I've placed every single one.
Okay.
So there might be a third one for people who were sad about there only being two. But
Hmm.
anyway, let's get right on top of it with that horrible gym pun.
Yeah, I loved that Greg immediately clocked it and he was like,
Just, we're not playing this game.
I know you too well, and you're not getting away with this.
Well, apparently there were some from episode 10, so
Yeah,
that's
that's what I
interesting.
thought.
Wop wop, oh well.
Actually, yeah, there were because one person's outfit was different in studio that we
Oh,
haven't seen yet.
okay.
So,
Then I
yep.
must have forgotten one. So anyway, we won't talk anymore about the outtakes because there
Yeah.
are spoilers. So,
Hmm.
not that, this video isn't full of spoilers. Anyway, yeah, so horrible, horrible pun.
Yep.
And Alex got rightfully roasted for it.
Hmm. And
But
then he was like, "Yep, that was the bit. All
I
right,
love
prize test."
I love it when it happens to him though, because like, yeah, he gets so happy when one of his banters makes Greg laugh.
Yeah.
But the ones that I always like better are the ones where Greg refuses to yes and him. And he's just like,
Hmm.
No, we're not playing this game today.
Yeah.
I'm not in the
Just
mood.
awkwardly
Oh my
sitting
god.
there.
Go away. My Thunderbird keeps.
Mm.
Just go away. Fuck off. It's gonna keep popping that alert up at me. Anyway. Yeah, let's just get into the prize task, which I've closed my tab. Let me go back to it. So the prize task here, the most
Why
satisfying
why
thing. What?
why did Alex do the thinking thing?
I don't know.
Like that was so, because I was expecting it to be like the best thing you can think about while you're doing
Yeah,
something. And then it was
and
like jelly molds and I was like, "What?"
yeah, so the prize task, the most satisfying thing you could use as a jelly mold, which came off as a bit funny to me because my mind immediately went to that Series 11 prize task for the most satisfying wobbly thing. And three
Yeah.
of them brought in jelly, and
Hmm.
Greg was ready to just disqualify everyone on principle.
Now
So,
to be clear to our non-UK viewers, jelly in this case means like jello,
yes.
right? Okay. That's what I
That was
thought.
to be clear for you, wasn't it?
Yeah, because I was pretty sure I knew. I mean, I obviously I knew what it was, but like what?
So,
You
like,
have opinions on jello?
So, like, the
Ma'am.
main kind of difference there is that over here we make a distinction between jelly and jam. So we have
Hmm.
jelly, jam, and preserves, which are
And jello.
three separate different things.
Yeah.
And I believe in the UK, it's just different types of jam. And then you get jelly as the gelatin thing.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. And then we get Greggy Jelly Belly.
I loved
Yeah,
that. I
that
was like,
killed Jason.
"What?"
Jason
Oh
didn't
my
know what to
gosh.
do with that.
Yeah, I wrote down Alex likes his Greggy and his Greggy Jelly Belly, and I was like, "Alex."
Ridiculous, man. But, Jason comes out here with a jelly mold of Ashling B's tits.
Amazing.
And I loved how when they showed it, says dignity intact.
Yeah, yeah.
Because that's
So
going to
good.
forever define her time on this show.
Yes. Yeah, I
And
loved that.
to me, that says an awful lot about who Jason is as a person. That he was able to just ring up Ashling and propose this idea, and
Hmm.
she said yes. Because the way he
I'm
presents it
curious.
was like, yeah, there was no hesitation, just yes, let's do this.
I'm curious to know why her. Because as far as I know, like he doesn't have any, like he doesn't know, stop.
Well, he
He
must
doesn't.
know her through Nish.
Oh, okay, that would make sense.
Because I get the impression that because he knows Nish, he's also hung out with with some of the other people in the Britcom team. Yes, it
Right.
does also say a lot about Ashling, but mainly my thinking here is if a random guy comes up to you and says, "Can I have a mold of your tits?" That's fucking creepy and weird. If it's a guy
Yeah.
you barely know who says, "Can I get a mold of your tits?" That's
Yeah.
also really weird. But for her to be, comfortable enough to just immediately say, "Yes, this is funny," I feel
Yeah.
like that
Pretty
does
good.
say a lot about him.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved that. That was awesome.
And then we have Stevie not knowing what the Irish flag looks like, calling it Italian.
And then Rosie on Ed's podcast was like, "Yeah, I also thought it was
But
Italian,
she
but I
thought it
didn't say it."
internally.
Yeah.
Which, that's a lesson that I think a lot of people do learn on this show in particular, is don't just say the first thing that comes to mind,
Yeah.
because it's going to show how much of an idiot you are. Say it in here.
Yeah.
Stevie brought in a chest of drawers for 3 flavors of jelly, to which Greg, I think, rightfully questioned her mental health.
Yeah.
Yeah, when they did flag meals, nobody knew what flag they were doing either. A couple of them really struggled. That was in series
Um,
3.
yeah, Stevie's shelf thing reminded me of this uh I think it was an Instagram video or something that I was scrolling by, and it was something was like, "Oh yeah, first thing in the morning I need my coffee." And like the guy like opens his drawer and it's just like like coffee in the drawer, and he just like takes a mug and like scoops the coffee out of the drawer and just like dumps it all over his face. I'm like, I hate this so
See,
much. But that's what that reminded me of, just a drawer of stuff
see,
that shouldn't be in a drawer.
now I've got the piss drawer in my head.
What was that from?
Oh my god! So that was a I can't remember the original format it was in, but it's just turned into a meme because it's so vile. It's this photo of this little boy. I think he's dressed as Batman, just screaming, and the drawer on his little dresser is full of piss because Mum found the piss drawer. Yeah,
What?
it was vile.
Oh my gosh, that's awful.
But also that was such an IKEA looking chest of drawers. Like, at least get a
Oh
nice one.
man.
And
I
then
loved I loved Stevie's little reaction um to Rosie's uh what's
yeah,
it
so,
called?
so Rosie brought in the air fryer drawers.
Yeah, and then Stevie's like, just more
Still
drawers
drawers
in
though.
it.
Yeah, still drawers though.
So funny.
And then Matt was on kind of a similar wavelength with the paddling pool.
Hmm.
Because I think the 3 of them all just went to a lot of jelly rather
Yeah.
than an
I think
interesting.
I think that what Matt should have done is that he should have said, imagine this pool filled with jelly and then you getting into the pool.
Yes.
Because that would have, I think, added a
Who
little
hasn't wanted
extra.
to take a jelly bath at one time just to see what it's like?
Yeah. It's like those like commercials that they used to do with like tubs full of cereal and stuff, or like
Yes.
spaghetti or whatever it was, and it's just like, what the heck?
I also remember someone did like a pool full of custard.
Ooh.
Like, I feel like that was Mythbusters or something. And then Fatia brings in a foot. And she says, people like feet in it, which just brought Kyle to my mind. What are feet?
What are feet?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I didn't like that. I don't like I don't mind feet, but like I hate my own feet being touched. And it's not like I'm not ticklish on my feet. I just hate the feeling. It's so bad. Hello. That okay. That like literally it's a physical response for me when if you touch the bottom of my feet, I will like kick you in the face. Like that's happened before.
some years
It's like a
ago,
knee-jerk reaction.
some years ago, I put a beer bottle through my foot.
Ow!
And I have to say, that was as horrible as that was the least horrible part of the entire thing. Because then I had to go to hospital. I had to get it
Right.
scrubbed out. I had to get it x-rayed. I had to get stitches in the bottom of my foot. I
Mm-mm.
still have no nerve sensation in 3 of my toes. And then I had to have the stitches out. I don't like the
No,
bottom of
thank
my
you.
feet touched for some reason.
Yeah.
But yeah, she brings in this foot, which genuinely, I think she actually, filled the brief. She should have been up there with Jason because, like, it's a more interesting thing at the very least. Like, you get a jiggly wobbly foot after you've demolded it,
Yeah.
which that's another thing as well. Jason's the only one who actually made the jelly.
Yeah.
I think if
Which,
she
like,
had
he
made
didn't
the
have
jelly,
to.
no, he
But
didn't.
yeah, it's definitely an extra step.
It shows how good the mold was. I think if she had gone through the process, maybe get a second foot or something, so that she could, cut out the jelly from the mold, that would have
Mhm.
shown that it is actually better than three people who just brought in a lot of jelly.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
another note that I have during all of this when Rosie was talking up hers, man, she reminds me of Chris.
Yeah.
Those two, they're like the Mitchells, where they're not quite the same person,
But
but
they're very in sync.
there is a complete person between the two of them. And then we have. So Jason got 5 points for a jelly mold of tits. Matt got 4 for the paddling pool. Don't think that was deserved. Stevie got 3 for a chest of drawers. Sure. Fatia got 2 for her foot. And sorry, Rosie, I agree. 1 point for the air fryer drawers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we have the first filmed task is place something somewhere surprising. And I think there was quite a lot more to it. Yes, so place something somewhere surprising. The thing that makes the Taskmaster ask, how did that get there? The loudest wins. There is a bonus point for the most surprising answer to that question. You have a maximum of 30 minutes. So, this was also kind of like one from Series 13, where they had to make the key difficult but not impossible to retrieve.
Yeah. Now, I immediately paused here and I turned to my partner and I said, you know what I would do? Is I would turn to Alex. What? She has a lot to say today.
She,
I would turn to Alex and I would say, and I would like grab something random or maybe write a note or something. And I would say, during the film, like in the studio, when we're filming, during the day that this task is revealed, can you have someone put this inside of Greg's suit jacket?
yes.
Because that, I love when that happens. Because that happened before. I forget who did it, but somebody did that before, and they were like, "Oh, Greg, look in your jacket," and he like pulls out a little. It might have been May. I feel
Yeah, because they
May
had
did
that
that.
really awkward knock knock joke that just went nowhere.
Yeah, but I think I would do something like that. Like I would just
Yeah.
put something random in Greg's, suit pocket, and then maybe I'd ask Alex like I'm gonna give this to you. You give it to a member of the crew. That person will give it to Andy. Andy will give it to makeup. Makeup will give it to wardrobe. Wardrobe will put it in
Yeah.
Greg's pocket. Like that's the first thing I thought of. I thought that would have been really funny.
Yeah, like I think that would have been the best way to do it is just like incredibly meta.
Yeah.
And I feel like there's also like a way you could have hid something in the house. Just something very
Hmm.
conspicuous in like one of the rooms.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then depending on the order in which they were aired, which that would also have a lot to do with it, there could be something that was just there the entire time or there off and on.
Hmm.
But yeah, like and then going back to series 13, it really baffled me and actually kind of surprised me that nobody did what I thought would be the obvious solution was to just put the key down your pants.
Hmm.
It's
Well,
difficult, but not
didn't
impossible.
was it Who put the key down their boot and they were like, "Oh, that's easy."
Yeah, that was Bridget. She had the right idea and then she just failed the rest of it. But my
Yeah,
thinking for that was that it was going to be Alex having to retrieve it.
right.
So it would have been difficult, but not impossible for him to have retrieved.
Mhm.
From the chat, yeah, similar thought. I would have tried to put something in a place that looks like it's in the house, but it's randomly somewhere else. That's good as well, yeah. And then where the question doesn't become, how did that get there, but how did we get here? That's pretty clever too, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good one.
And then, yeah, and then through this, before the task even starts, we have, um, oh, I can't read my own writing here. Uh, but we had Alex just being an absolute menace with being, warm or cold, which helped nobody because they had the tasks hidden on their back.
Mhm.
And then,
I wish that we had seen how that happened because I really like whenever we get to see like, oh, the sound guy, is like, "Oh, hold on, I gotta fix your mic pack or whatever really
yeah,
quick."
which I
I
think they
really
did
I
that
really
during
like
the
that.
fishing task in Nick Mohammed's series. What was that? 17? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And then Matt the finds another secret task. Congratulations, you have discovered the magic mustache and must wear it until the end of the task. And he just automatically knew that's going to be irritating. Let's stick it on my forehead and forget about it. Because it didn't say he couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, like this task was kind of the beginning of Matt pretty much having a nightmare the entire episode.
Yeah, he
Like,
seemed to not
so
do
where is he
great.
here? Yeah. So he did get 5 points for the exciting new bodies, but we'll come on to that. And just the horror that was. But that was really and even that one. Like, it wasn't a nightmare in points, but that task was a nightmare.
Yep. Yep.
but for. But for the surprising things, okay, so we had. Oh, I also have a note about Rosie asking if Alex has been helping her when he said that he's not allowed. And so Fatia chucked a croissant onto the roof, and then a crow stole it. Which,
So my partner was like, "Well, what they should have done is they should have filmed where the crow took it."
yeah,
And then yeah, because that would have been great. That would have been like uh like if it ended up in like a field or something,
yeah, like
and
it could have
then
wound
and
up.
then if Greg was like, "Oh, you just chucked it in the grass," but then it ends up being that the crow took it to the grass. And it reminded me of Lucy, no, Julian. Wait, what? Julian and Lucy's series. Who put the donut like on top of the house and then the
That
crow
was
ate it?
Sam.
Oh, say yeah, 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 yeah. That's what that reminded me
Yeah, and then
of.
Nick Mohammed did a similar thing with the don't break the egg task, and then a crow at it. So
Excellent.
Fatia really channeling Hugh Dennis there and just chucking a pastry onto the roof. Rosie put a bra and thong onto the clock by climbing up onto a scary ladder, and then Alex says, "You're only little." Also, when I was
So
watching it,
funny.
the first time I watched it, it looked like the entire gable up there was just wiggling really, really awkwardly. And I was like, oh my god, is the house gonna fall apart? And it wasn't until the
Somebody.
second time that I noticed it's just horrible GoPro distortion.
Yeah. Hi. Come here. Come
And
here.
then,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, she had a little bribe on one of them. And then she just gave Greg the 50 pounds immediately.
Yeah, I don't know why
Had she
she
never
did that.
bribed anybody before?
Mhm.
But
Ma'am. Ma'am. Help you, ma'am.
silly little kitty. Which
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of funny that Greg took the money. I mean, I imagine he gave it back at some point.
Yeah.
But he took it and then just said, well, I can't take bribes, which one he's done in the past. And
Yeah.
he's always talking about how easily he could be bought.
Right.
And then, someone tries to buy him and he's like, nah, we're not doing this. Stevie's
Yep.
was really interesting. She put a tiny basket with bread in Alex's mouth.
That was
And
weird.
my whole thing during that was I couldn't work out where on the grounds that was filmed because there's no corner of the house that looks like that. And there's no
Right.
brick on the inside.
Yeah.
And so I was like, where in the fuck did they do this? Which
Hmm.
should have been the first clue that they were using the fake brick panels that just live
Yeah.
in the garage.
Yeah.
But that one was really good. She had that elaborate pulley system, which lowered it in. So Greg was kind of close when he said he thought she might have used a fishing rod. And then Jason's with the banana skin in the cupboard.
Hey, I loved that. Sorry, she was playing with our Ethernet. We just got internet. Don't mess. Yeah, I like when the niche reveal happened, I went like this. I was so excited.
Yeah,
Oh
like
man. I was so
I
happy.
so I've seen that photo of the two of them
Yeah,
together dressed as one
at the
another.
at the Halloween party or
Yeah,
whatever.
and like I guess they look alike. I can't like because of the features that I look for on a person, they don't look alike to me. They look completely different. So I didn't really clock that it was Nish. I knew it wasn't Jason, but because they grayed him up and his hair was weird, I didn't clock that it was Nish until just as he said Nish.
Mhm.
And
So funny.
yeah, that one was good. And then Greg utterly slams him when he's. We're what, almost 15 series past Nish's, and he's still never living down the fact that he was pathetic.
So funny.
You gotta love that one of the all-time fan favorites was inarguably one of the worst there's ever been.
Yeah. Yep. I recently rewatched the get this basketball into the hoop without
Oh
using your
my
hands
god.
task, and I love Nish so much. It's just peak comedy.
He's
Well, well, well.
and
Oh
then what
man.
it was like 40 something attempts, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah.
So many. The best part of that task to me is when Alex goes into the caravan and she's like, "Where the hell are you going?" And Alex comes back with a chair.
Yeah.
Just oh
Yep.
nish.
Cause when you watch it again and you see Alex in the chair, like you know.
Yeah, that's been going on
Like
for a
you
while.
know that Alex will not have just brought out a chair to sit in. Like that's not what Alex does. Alex
Yeah.
stands around with his notepad or his iPad. So, yeah, it's like
We,
something's off
yeah.
here.
When you've made Alex tired, you know you're taking too long. But this one, pretty straightforward task. There weren't a whole lot of twists and things like that. So we've got Fatia with 1 point, Rosie with 2 because fuck your bribe, Matt with 3, Stevie with 4, and then Jason got 6 because he got 5 points plus the bonus. Task number 2. There it is. Create the most exciting new bodies so that you and Alex become a dynamic duo. You must then do something dynamic together for no more than 1 minute. Now, this was one of those tasks where I would have had to have it explained to me because it's
Yeah, I
it's
didn't really
vague.
understand the bodies
And I
thing.
feel like some of them didn't understand it either.
Yeah.
But we've got Alex with his legs out, which gives us a fantastic line from Fatia. What in the pasty hell is this? And then we had Matt showing a bit too much leg. And as soon as I commented on that to my husband, he stood up and it's like, oh, and now we've got his balls again.
Yep. Good times.
Oh my god.
I feel like Matt frequently just does stuff with his body and seemingly does not care that he's like flashing the world.
Yeah,
Because
like,
he'll like sit with his legs fully out and I'm like, my
sir.
guy, I can see your boxers.
My
Like,
guy. Like, I'm so conscious of when I'm showing any more skin than I intend to show. So we had
yep.
that. And then, so we started off with Fatia. She was like, they were sumo wrestlers or weeble wobbles. And then I think in studio they said that they were eggs, which, I mean, that's basically what a weeble wobble is.
Yeah, I didn't like this one. I mean, like I was like, what the fuck is this? Although I did write down that Raging Horn has his tattoos.
Yes.
So they drew the little tattoos
Yeah.
on the
I
arms. I
laughed
really
so
liked
hard.
that. That was so cute.
I laughed so hard about the lizard on him. Okay, so
Yeah.
question from the thing. So I do want to know whether Nish was randomly there or whether they bent the time rule. So yes, so the time is
Oh
not
yeah.
fixed. If you have an idea, you can say stop the clock. I need this. Sometimes there are tasks where you're not allowed to, but they do this all the time. And even back in Series 6, Lisa Tarbuck said, I have an idea, stop the clock. And because, yeah, they would have taken more than the allotted time to source the cake and everything to be exactly how she wanted. And
Yeah.
I think Ed said that for his, he stopped the clock about 2 or 3 times for
Hmm.
some of his tasks. So yeah, the for most of them that you have 30 minutes. That is 30 minutes actively working on the task, not 30 minutes from now this task is over,
Right.
which is the best way to do it because yeah, that gives us some of these really nice awesome moments like, having Nish there or sitting Alex's bare ass on a cake. So yeah, then we had Stevie with the little knights, and Alex killed Stevie's son, so they have a fight. That one was really cute.
I yeah. I
And
liked the storyline for that one.
and I
Although the big heads with the
yes, it was so
with the
cute.
little bodies, I was like, oh
I
no.
also thought it was interesting that these two were both fights. Fatia won, and Stevie died. They both clearly had different ideas of what would make their scenes the best.
Yeah.
And then we had Greg. See, when I'm nice, no one likes it. When I
Yeah, that was
forget who
so
he was
funny.
talking up, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then I think it was probably Fatia's. Maybe, I don't know. I'm sorry that your video was rubbish. And then so Rosie's this is when this task started to get cursed for me.
hmm
Because Rosie, they had the dancing skeletons and they were a bit cursed. It was something about Alex and the wig and his makeup over his beard. I didn't like it.
there was the way that Alex looked with that hair. I don't know what it reminded me of, but it feels like it reminded me of something, and I, for the life of me, could not put my finger on it, and I still can't. But
Same.
it just felt weird.
There
Like
was something
seeing
uncanny about
seeing
it.
him like that felt really weird. It kind of reminded me of what was that thing he did semi recently in that video, and he wore the blue makeup and he
Oh,
had
that
like,
thing with Jazz Emo.
yeah. It
I
kind of
actually
reminded
never
me of
watched
that.
that.
Oh, really?
No,
Wow.
but I know what
Yeah,
you're
I
talking
mean,
about.
it was pretty weird,
So yeah,
but
like that one was like it was cute. They had one last jig before they died,
yeah.
and I liked the idea. There was just something about Alex that felt vaguely cursed.
Yeah. There So, you know that song that's like the leg bone's connected to
Yeah.
the hip bone, right? Like that's kind of what that reminded me of.
But like again, like Stevie's, it was such a cute little idea. Giant heads, tiny little bodies,
Hmm.
dancing. Yeah, that was adorable. Jason, his were street performers on Burnside. Like I have seen that act before,
Yeah.
and he described it as rock and roll from the future. We have a
Mhm.
quote from Alex: "My left hand is run out of batteries,"
That was funny.
and then from Greg, "What did I write down from you? Oh yeah, you're a fucking maniac." But yeah,
Surprising no
like
one.
his I could see what they were going for, but I don't think it worked. At least it wasn't cursed.
Right.
And then we had Matt with the Butterfly Bros, which might
That
be the most
was
cursed thing this show has ever put on television. It's up there
that
with Baby
was
Mark.
don't bring up Baby Mark. I hate Baby Mark. What is happening? Peel Pal. Can you hear that? She's going
Oh my god. Well,
let's run around the clock.
she wants to jump off the balcony.
Why? Dude, I had a heart attack when she
I
did that.
bet.
3 stories up. Hey, what's down there? No, 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 no. Yeah,
See,
I don't know if you
I
can hear it, but all I hear is like
she got the zoomies.
she has the zoomies.
But I mean, let's just get right to the point. Alex says
Now,
it very
to
plainly.
be fair, I thought that Matt, I mean, he clearly had, some direction for the editors to be like, okay, and then we're gonna do this. Oh, and also like when they were in the sleeping bags and they were wiggling around, that sound effect, I was like, what? It was
I
like
really liked the editing on
squelching
that.
sounds.
I
The
loved
editing
the
was
editing was peak YouTube.
fantastic. It
Like
was
it was peak YouTube editing, but I love that kind of style where it's like, here we're doing something silly. Oh, actually no, it's sinister.
yeah.
Like that was perfect. I loved that. And like at the beginning, I was like, why are they in green morph suits? Did
Oh,
they
I
not green
I
screen them? What's
already
going on?
I already knew. I was like, no.
Well, because I didn't catch that they were meant to be caterpillars.
Oh,
Because
I caught
yeah,
that right away. I was like,
but Alex says possibly the worst thing that he's ever said. First time I've had a camel toe.
yep.
And then, Greg says it looks like you've got a big chubby fanny, which is exactly what it looked like.
Yep.
And I,
Also, shout out to P. Willie on AO3, who's posted a fic called Big Chubby Fanny because I have not had the time. So I'm glad somebody else did it for me.
and then Matt, I'm just glad we're talking about someone else's balls.
Yep.
But, I mean, let's be real, it's not the first time we have seen Alex in an unflattering outfit, but I think that was the worst. It was just a combination of the morph suit and again his makeup.
The
And when
makeup was bad.
oh
I
god.
I wish that they had done like, and I, you know, they probably made it bad on purpose, but I wish that they had actually like done a good job with the makeup because also the when he was in makeup for um that video with Jazzy Moo that I was
Yeah.
just talking about. That makeup, I mean, oh,
Yeah,
gorgeous.
you
Like
can
that's how you're
do.
supposed to do makeup.
Yeah,
And
it's
I
like every time they put him in makeup on the show, they do it to just make him look as cursed as possible.
right, which like again, I
Like
understand that.
that
But like
that is one of the main points of the show is that, Alex must never look cool.
yeah.
But oh my fucking god.
Hmm.
It went on for so long. Like it wasn't supposed to be
It
more than a
was
minute.
really long. It
And it
was
just kept
really
going
long.
and going. And it's like, I can't look at this on my screen. I have to look away. Please
Hmm.
stop.
Yeah. Yep.
uh,
Yep.
good grief. Okay, so we've got Fatia with 2 points. Rosie
I
got
do
three.
like how Greg is usually in these types of artistic tasks, he gives people more
Yeah,
points.
like I love that. How nobody, like, you have to really fuck up to get 1 point on an art
Yeah.
task.
Yeah.
Like, I think Hugh Dennis was even disqualified on one of them.
Right.
But to be fair, that drawing sucked, and he cheated to do it anyway. Or not
Hmm.
really cheated, but it was
Yeah.
bad.
Oh,
So Jason got three,
sorry.
Stevie four, and Matt five.
So we also missed.
Oh,
Okay, so a couple things that I wrote. There's a throw to ad break in which
oh
Greg
yes,
says
I was gonna
something
come back
about
to
like
that.
Alex using the litter box, which is so funny because we haven't really had like much of referring to Alex as a cat,
Yeah, he's
but
always a dog.
yeah, but I liked that. I was like, oh, okay.
And then, his furball puke. I mean, could he not have looked at
That
a YouTube video?
that is not how furballs happen, my guy. That's not how furballs sound. Furballs sound
Yeah.
like you there's no vocal cords involved in
Like,
it. It's just
yeah, like sometimes it sounds like a really backed up drain.
mhm.
But yeah, I don't know what Alex is doing. And then my husband goes, they really are feeding the pet play fandom.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what
That's
to tell you.
literally all that was. Like, there's no other way to say it.
Yep.
That they are once again up here being freaky on global television and not
Horny
even
on main.
caring.
Also, Rosie's outfit, studio outfit this episode, I got so excited because I looked at her shirt and I went, Team Rocket. And then a good half hour later, I was like, oh, it's probably R for
my
Rosie.
my husband did the
That
same thing.
that would make sense. I fully, for a good half hour, was like, Team Rocket, let's go. I was so excited.
So then we have the multitask with our boy. Where's the candy?
Patatas. There he is.
Such a well behaved kitty.
Yes, a good boy.
I love
Or a
he's
good girl, or a good gender neutral cat,
yeah, I love
because
how cat
I think it's canon that
yeah,
Patatas doesn't have a gender.
yeah, Alex has said that that Patatas is whatever gender you want Patatas to
Yeah,
be.
real.
And
Queer
then
icon.
I loved this before the task even started. Stevie comes into it. Just, yes, a good hearty task. Opens it. And then immediately disaster.
Immediately disaster. So funny.
And then we get Where's the Hutch? Which, this is one of my favorite things that has consistently happened across
Hmm.
series. Someone is told to go to the shed, and they go somewhere else. It's
Yeah.
happened more than once.
Now, to be fair, as Rosie says on Ed's podcast, the hutch, like, what is that? Right? Because, like, she says, like, a hutch is for, like, rabbits and stuff, you know?
See, that's
And it's
funny
like,
because when I was growing up, my grandmother called her curio cabinet a hutch.
oh, interesting.
So yeah, like when I heard about a rabbit hutch much later in life, I was like, huh?
Mhm.
So at this point, hutch has lost all meaning to me.
Right,
If they're
yeah.
calling that thing a hutch, it's a hutch.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like they need to label it or something at this
I
because
think
if I feel like if I was on the Taskmaster grounds and you told me to go to the shed, I would know where that is. If you told me to go to the caravan, I know where that is. You tell me to go to the dome, I know where that is. If you told me to go to the hutch, I would really have to think about it because like I know what things aren't the hutch, but my brain is like, what the fuck is the hutch? Like I don't know.
see what I think it actually is. I think it's a portable like camping cabin.
Yeah. Like what they should call it is call it a camper. But I guess the
That's
caravan
yeah,
is
that's
kind
what
of a
yeah.
camper, so
I feel like they settled on hutch because it doesn't sound like anything else.
yeah.
And then, so getting into it, Fatia and Jason did the task exactly the same way, in the same order. The only problem was that Jason went into the caravan, you know, one more time than Rosie. And, or not Rosie, Fatia. And she goes,
Hmm.
I love this line. I want the elixir, but I'm scared it's going to taste like nonsense.
Which, to be fair, valid.
Yeah. I don't know what nonsense is going to taste like,
Yeah.
but it would taste like nonsense. I also
Yeah.
like how she liked the coat.
Yeah.
And then,
Okay. Now I've gotta mention something here now
okay.
because I had to pause the video when it got to the point where they were saying like feed the magical elixir to Patatas or whatever.
Yes.
I had to pause and I was like, and my partner was like, what? And I'm like, and he's like, what? And I'm like, I don't know how to explain to you that Illuminescence wrote a fic called The Quest for the Magical Elixir. And it's literally it's 16,000 words. Go on AO3. It's general audiences, like anybody can read it. It's very sweet, lovely, lovely story. And it's literally like so okay, I'm gonna read you the summary. According to the story of Patatas, which was a YouTube short clip, whatever that they did, the
Yeah.
Taskmaster's stuffed toy cat Patatas is down to his last of his 9 lives. It said he it's said he spends much of his time searching for a magical elixir that might restore some of his lives.
Oh.
Uh, so so then Illuminescence wrote The Quest for the Magical Elixir. And I had forgotten that the the story of Patatas that they had posted said that like had mentioned an elixir, and so I was fully thinking, holy shit, they read this fic and then created a task around it. What the fuck is happening right now?
Oh no.
And so I messaged them and I was like, uh what's the timeline on this? And they were like, oh, I wrote it after they would have recorded this. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that sucks. But because I had forgotten that like they had written it based on like this lore have
I
already
completely
have been
forgot about that.
yeah, but I was like, did they actually just pull a fic and like do a whole task around it? Because that's insane. And then I was
Well,
like, oh, they didn't. Okay, well,
knowing that now, because I did see a bit of a conversation about how they had referenced a task that hadn't aired, but I wasn't really paying attention to it because my hours have been weird lately. But like, shortly after our one of our first episodes, I think it was like either properly episode number 1 or number 2. I used Patatas as a stand-in. And we had caused a few waves on Reddit, which is fine. It was nothing horrible, but, we got noticed by Reddit pretty quickly. And I don't know if it was someone who had seen the video or had just independently decided to go look for him. But shortly after our episode, the first time I used Patatas, someone posted on Reddit asking where to get him and where to find him, and that's how I found out that he is no longer in production.
Yeah.
So,
Discontinued.
yeah, he has been discontinued. And so ever since I found that out, I have been like, oh god. So what happens when they need to replace him again? Because that cat has been through some shit. And,
Yep.
like, you look at him, and I can't tell. So, like, his arms have wire in them, so they will stay put.
Oh.
And I can't tell if the ones on the show, if they're broken or if someone just squished him and they never put him back. Because he
Right.
doesn't stand upright anymore.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, I figure they've got the wires in them so he does stand up.
Hi.
And he can
Come
actually,
here.
put that weight on those arms without falling over.
Yeah.
So, like, yeah, I've been really worried because he's become so much of the fabric of the show. Like, people saw that Patatas was in this episode and lost their fucking minds.
Yeah.
And he's so popular that Alex put that in his promo
Mm-hmm.
video. And when you went on Channel 4, like, that was the thing that they were promoting the episode with, is Patatas is back.
Yeah.
And, like, yeah, I can understand there's some logic to saying, well, when he's gone, and they'll just have to make a big deal out of it, but I don't think they can. People will be
Yeah.
too upset over an ugly stuffed cat.
Yep. That's true. I so because I have been moving and because we didn't have internet for a few days, I didn't watch this episode like right away. I think this was the longest I've gone without watching a new episode like as it's come out. Because I didn't watch it until like 4 days later. Um and my best friend messaged me and he was like, "So, what's your opinion on Jason waterboarding Patatas?" And I was like, "What?" I'm like, I haven't seen the episode. Don't. It's like, I'm begging you. And he's like, oops.
That's some real
Never
snake kill
mind.
Dumbledore shit right there.
Yeah, seriously. I was like,
Uh, yes,
well,
they do. As far as I know, when they did that story of Patatas, Alex said they have 2 or 3 of them, I think, and at least one of them is called huevos
yes.
because it's potatoes and eggs, which is amazing.
I wonder if they have a secret third one whose name is Rancheros.
But yeah, like the way people have behaved toward this cat, he's been stuck up trees, he's been, snorted by multiple people, Nish ate him, like, he's been through some shit. And now, yeah, he's been waterboarded, and I don't know how well that blue's going to come out of him,
Hmm.
but, like, eventually they are going to run out of spares.
Yeah.
And that's what worries me, is what happens when they totally run out of spares.
Yeah. Scary to think about.
So, and then he just spikes him into the ground. Which,
Come on, man.
like, yeah, there was some discussion, oh my god, is Jason gonna kill Patatas?
Hmm.
And, like, there's a logical part of the brain that says obviously no, because Alex had him in the promo. At the same
Right.
time, that could have been huevos.
Yeah.
So, like, there was really no way of knowing if Patatas survived this episode until watching it. And it's like, he could have come off worse. But I feel like being waterboarded and spiked is not the best thing for this poor mangled cat. And
Yep.
he does look exactly as ridiculous as he does on screen. Like, especially if he's been really messed up a bit. Like,
Hmm.
they call him a Persian cat on the website. He's a roadkill cat,
Right.
but I love him, and he looks so real. Like, I've had people
Yeah.
think it was a cat, And it's like,
Yeah.
no, just a toy. That's why he's staring at you like that.
Yeah. I got my Crookshanks in like 2017, I think, before the whole J.K. Rowling
Yeah.
sucks thing. And I got him at like Universal Studios in Orlando. And I was bringing him back on the plane home, and I had to carry him fucking huge because he wouldn't fit in my backpack. So I was carrying him, and I heard, and behind me, and I heard like talking to her dad, and she was like, "Is that a real cat?" So, can you imagine somebody just carrying a loose cat just like under their arm onto the plane? Like, no, no, it is not a real cat. Jesus Christ.
And then
Oh my gosh.
Jason predictably wrecked the shed, which is, if he didn't, I think we would have been surprised. But we
Mm-hmm.
did have a nice little cameo on the screen because we know the person who made the basket.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was
And
exciting.
when they sent in the basket, it looked very nice. This basket looks like it has been kicked across the garden so many
Which
times.
it probably has, to be fair.
It's seen better days.
It
So,
sure has.
yay. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, we love a cameo from the fan community.
And then, okay, here's in my notes. Yeah, so Jason went into the caravan twice. Fatia used her brain and just snatched it through the window, the drink.
That was smart. Yeah.
And then my notes go, that poor cat, Jason spikes it for no reason. And even Greg calls it out as unnecessary cat murder.
Yep.
And then he's got another quote right after that. Well, good, as long as you cost us money.
Yeah. So
Like,
funny.
I did see something. I feel like this was in an interview or something. I saw it secondhand on Discord that apparently they made sure that Jason knew that he was the last one filming these tasks, which came across as a tacit approval to fuck shit up.
Right. Because what was there was the egret task
Yeah, that
in,
was during the New York. There it goes again. New
yeah,
Year treat.
New York treat.
New York treat.
New York treat.
I
Yeah.
NYT has always meant something else to me.
Yeah.
I've been a Times reader since
I was
university.
gonna say New York Times.
Yeah, I mean
But yeah,
it's
because
absolutely dog shit now, but
what's his name? Rex the egret, Eric, and
Eric.
then it's completely dismantled for the next person.
Yeah. So, which I feel like I found the last one of those ever made as well, and that fucking egret was more expensive than Patatas. He was
Wow.
almost $100. It took a month and a
Really?
half to yes.
Oh my
It took a month
gosh.
and a half to get here, and then it was delisted after I bought it. So I don't think you can find that fucking egret again. So
Wow.
oh, and I don't think I've shared with the podcast yet because I haven't been able to use it in a video. I have got Bob Mortimer's sausage presentation unit. I was in an antique shop and it was just on a shelf for $5, and I was like, hell
That's
yes. I
amazing.
know. I couldn't believe it. And I
That's
was
so
with my
good.
mother in law, and she didn't understand why I was losing my shit about this goofy little tin elephant. But it's like, no, you don't understand. So we'll be
It's
seeing him
amazing.
as a stand in, and whenever it decides to show up, I'm also getting the alluring tiger.
Nice.
So
That's
really the
that's a
only
big
one I
one.
need now is the little man that Lisa smashed,
Yeah.
which I found him in other colors, but I want him in the blue and red.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean,
yes,
worst case scenario, you can get him and then paint him.
yeah. So we have, so yeah, those two they did it pretty quickly. I think what did Alex say that Jason took twice as long as Fatia, but it was only a matter of 6 and 12 minutes. So that was one of those things where it's like, I don't think you can do it much faster than that because she just blew through it.
Yeah, that was
So,
impressive.
yeah, so it was like, how is everyone else going to be doing? And then
You're
we get,
forgetting Linda. You gotta get Linda.
oh, man, I've thought of ways to, like, get a cow, but I think part of the appeal of these is that these are the actual props that were
Right.
used on the show. Like, I
Yeah.
could get a cow, but
Your husband walks in one day and it's just like, come on, man.
he would divorce me on the spot. Like,
That's so funny.
well, there was one time he was away for a few days, so I was at home alone bored, which, I mean, don't leave me home alone for an extended period of time, because what I decided to do was I went into my office. We lived in a totally different place, but I've always had my own room for my own shit. So I went into there and I decided I'm going to do some just kind of blood spatter art. There was no other way to describe that. So I made a huge mess, and the pieces looked really cool because I
Hmm.
actually used a mix of like corn syrup and then I forget what else I put in it to make it a little bit more opaque, and then I made it red, and it was cool because like once it dried, it hardened, but it wasn't permanently dry, and over time it would like slowly drip down more. So I did that, made a mess of my office, and then just to get some drip happening, I moved them into the bathroom so that if they dripped off the page, they'd drip into the shower. And I'd forgot that I'd put them in there. He came home and just immediately wanted to go take a shower, opens the curtain, and goes, just like that, and had to deal with these, just no question. He just
Oh
looked at it. It's
no.
like, okay, this is a thing.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, so like I really related to both Chris and Rosie on Ed's podcast, because it's like, yeah, everything Chris has said about Rosie seems about right, and then she
Yeah.
started talking from her point of view, and it's like, yes, this woman is connected to me on a spiritual level, and she found the code immediately. Like, I think she found the code for the safe faster than anyone else did. She goes in there, which again, completely surprising, but she also, this task epitomized what I've been saying all series, that as long as you do something and you keep moving forward, you're going to get points. And that meant that she did get 2 points. She didn't wind up with one. Because, who was one? That was Matt. Yeah, we haven't got to him yet. So, yeah, like, because she was, she didn't know what she was doing, so she was just, looking for other things to do. So she found the code immediately, and then, I forget whether it was her or Stevie who asked about the sand in the kitchen, and Alex just says Greg was here earlier. It's
It's
like,
like, yeah, okay.
what the fuck was Greg doing?
Making a mess, apparently.
But yeah, like, Rosie didn't understand this task, and I think that came across immediately. She didn't know what she was doing. She just knew that she had to go between rooms and do what the
Hmm.
task said, and then eventually something would happen. So she noticed the code, and she noticed it twice.
Hmm.
She didn't know where the hutch was, but that was fine because she was still doing something. And once she got to the safe, finally she worked out, oh, that's the code for this. It just took her way too long to figure it out. She didn't notice a massive map beside her, which
That was ridiculous.
I mean, to be fair to her, it wasn't the most map looking map.
Yeah.
Like, it looked more like a diagram. So if she just, glanced at it, saw that, And then Alex, just absolute shitlord, when she comes back and sees it properly, he's like, oh yeah, no, that couldn't have been there. It's so big, you must have, you would have noticed it. And it's like, Alex,
What a
shut the fuck
dick.
up. Shut the fuck up.
So funny.
And then, on the opposite side of that, there's Stevie, who didn't notice a single fucking thing. And it
Yep.
was only because she was moving faster, I think, where Rosie was just taking her time, la 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 la. Like they were both in the same position here. They didn't know what was going on. They just knew they had to do things, and Stevie was just a little bit faster in doing absolutely nothing, but finally getting there.
Yeah.
And then I'm bad at writing down who these quotes are from, but yeah, one of them, waterboarding Patatas. I don't think he wants it. And then Alex goes, he wants it. Like, why did you say it like that? Why did you say that? And then Matt had a total meltdown and did every single possible thing wrong. Some of them multiple times. And we got to see more of his balls, which we
Right?
were warned when this series first started that it would happen more than once. I didn't expect it to happen this often.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, he just went all over the place, never noticed the code. And I can't remember how many times he was in the kitchen and the hutch and just ignoring everything around him.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yeah, he took quite a long time. I mean,
he
51
did.
minutes or whatever it was, and I'm like, my
Yeah.
guy, what are you doing?
I
He's just
can't
having a good time.
imagine.
I mean, he was like sashaying around the fucking place, and I was
Yeah.
like, this dude just having a bunch of fun.
Yeah,
So
he
funny.
just completely misunderstood the entire task in a way that dwarfed Rosie's not understanding it. And then he sums it up perfectly. It's amazing how many grits you can have, isn't it? And another thing I noticed that when he found Patatas, he seemed excited to see Patatas the same way we're excited to see Patatas. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, yes, finally I've got the cat. It was Patatas!
My old friend.
Yes.
Yep.
And then in the studio, I loved this when Greg was basically shit talking him because he deserved it. And then he accuses Matt of being over defensive, and then, well, I fucking am.
That was really
Yes.
funny.
Because he's been one who has taken his failures just on the chin. He knew he failed. He doesn't care. Like, he cares, but it's not the end of the world. Because
Hmm.
some
Yeah.
some people in the past, when they don't do well, they get angry, and you can tell. But like, I think Matt knows, especially at this point, that he has walked away with this entire series.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty impressive, honestly.
So yeah, we had Fatia with 5, Jason with 4, Stevie with 3, Rosie with 2, Matt with 1 point and 51 minutes. Which, yeah, if the task says fastest wins and you've been going for 20 minutes and you don't seem to make any headway, you're the
Mm-hmm.
problem.
Yep.
You are the problem. And then, so the final task, which I have just written as hell, that one was say a
Oh my
word
gosh.
that fits the category given to you by the Taskmaster, then press your button, and the time. This sentence is too long. Then press your button, and the time will pass to the other team. Team members must take it in turns to say words, and no words may be repeated during the task. So that's something they learned from the ping pong task in Series 5, where you can't repeat words. Just hell. Absolute hell. Alex
Yeah.
was in hell. The teams were in
Yeah.
hell. The audience
Alex
was
was
in
having
hell.
such a bad time.
I need to know if it was his decision to fully run the task himself, or if someone
Yeah.
decided that Alex should do it all. And
Right.
that to me seems like an Alex decision.
Yeah.
He wanted to be in charge of the clocks, he wanted to be in charge of checking the words,
Mhm.
and it just makes you wonder what he's like as a parent to these tasks,
Yeah.
because he can't handle any amount of unexpected tomfuckery.
I mean, and it was chaos with like Rosie not understanding again how the task was supposed to work and
Oh my god.
him having to yell at her to stop. Like it's not your turn yet.
And then yeah, like and then we had Alex repeating the banter gag and
Yeah.
referring to Matt as his butterfly brother.
That was really cute.
And then so the first word said is penis. And I
Yep.
think that set the tone for the whole thing.
Yep.
We had so many not you yet, which
Yep.
I don't think we've had that kind of frustration since the toilet paper task in series 17.
Mhm.
And then he just had to have a little lie down at one point.
So funny. Purple Casio for those of you
Yes.
keeping track.
And like I love when he gets this frustrated and fed up with the things that he has set up himself.
Mhm.
Like so I don't think it's too much of a spoiler here to say that this was one of the outtakes.
Yeah.
So there's an outtake for this
Well, but also
task.
that this outtake is up now.
Oh, is it?
I think they posted it on Instagram.
Okay, good. So we can talk about it then. So yeah, the fact that this was actually the second round and what happens in the first round is just astonishing because if it could go wrong, it did.
Mhm.
And it makes you wonder just how much some of these tasks are like tested out beforehand. And also, to my knowledge, this is the first time that with a live task, they broke their rule of whatever happens, happens.
Right.
Because, like, that's usually the whole point of the live tasks, is that sometimes they don't work. And that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But what happened with this one is just one, nobody really understood that what they were doing. They had a fuck up on 0 seconds, and then there was really no way to fix that, and then Alex accidentally reset the clocks. So the
Yeah.
whole round just there was no way to fix that afterwards. There was no coming
Yeah.
back. They had
Yeah.
fucked up the task. Alex was already overwhelmed, and you could see that a little bit during the second time or the first one.
Mhm. Yeah.
But yeah, like he just when he had to have the little lie down, I think that was the most of Alex we will ever see on
Yeah.
television. He just had to check out, and that
So funny.
there was this bit where you could just see on his face a complete system restart because everything had gone so wrong, and like they weren't supposed to be helping one another, but I feel like it would have been in Alex's best interest to allow Rosie to help Fatia.
Yeah.
Just this
And
task was
also,
amazing.
I could not believe that they didn't say chainsaw.
Yeah,
It was right there.
yeah.
And I think Alex even says, "Well, but anyway, here's the." I think he mumbles it a little bit,
Yeah.
but I was like, ugh, like you could have just used that.
And then we have another really great one from Alex. Just checking if I'm okay, and not really.
So funny.
And
Oh
then at one
man.
point, and then afterward, he goes, "I enjoyed being in full control of the task. That was a fucking lie. I don't think he
Yep.
enjoyed a second of that."
Yeah, that was so funny.
Oh my god, I love these kind of live tasks though, and
Hmm.
that is one of the things that makes the very first episode of Taskmaster, honestly, the best episode because it had literally everything that has come to make the show what it is. They nearly killed someone in the first task.
Yeah.
They had people were cheating throughout the entire thing. They nearly killed they nearly killed Ramesh. And even the live task. He was so out of his element, just shouting at people, and no one was listening to him.
Yep.
It was fantastic. But yeah, like, I love these live tasks, and I'd love to see a supercut, like, compilation of them.
Yeah.
Where he's just noped out.
Yep.
Because, good lord, dude. So that one, we had the team of 2, they got 5 points. The team of 3 got 3. Which, I think that was fair. Everyone was having a nightmare, and I really hate these winner-take-all live tasks.
I do too, as
Like,
we have established
yeah.
before.
So, giving the team that didn't win 3 points, that makes it feel a lot more, or a lot less biased, I guess.
Yeah.
And I really hope they've realized that winner takes all, especially on live tasks, is just not the way to do it.
Yeah.
And so we end the episode with Fatia on 13, Jason on 23, Matt on 16, Rosie on 11, and Stevie on 19. And then we have Jason going up there and just smashing the chest of drawers.
That was so funny. I laughed so hard because the whole thing, it looks like a cartoon where, oh, I gotta turn off my alarm. It's like, your alarm is going off soon. I'm awake. Um, yeah, when he just like flung it and then like all the drawers kind of like floated in the air for a second. That was
Oh
so
my.
funny.
Yeah, the tasks where Alex just completely checks out and just forgets that he's on telly. They are
And
the
he's
best
just
ones.
like, no.
I mean, it's not a necessary part of the show, but it's a fairly integral part that Alex is there to be bullied. And I love it when the show itself bullies him. It
Yeah.
becomes so meta, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
So the score, so the league table right now. We were talking about this a little bit before we started. So we've got Fatia on 133, Jason on 130, Matt on 154, Rosie on 135, and Stevie on 132. Which, once again, that means Matt's in first place, Rosie's in second, Fatia's in third, Stevie's in fourth, and Jason's on fifth. I don't think anyone has changed places. I'm gonna need to do the math, but I don't think I've ever seen this where the first episode, the scores as they lie there are just how the scores are for the rest of the series. Like, it's mad.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, it's a little bit like when John Robbins ran away with it.
Right. It's like at a certain point you kind of
Yeah,
you
like
just kind
it's
of have to
very
resign yourself to the end.
it's very obvious that next week when we pop a bottle of prosecco, it's going to be for Matt,
Yeah.
and it's going to be Matt on Ed's podcast next week. Literally no way of telling who will be in places 2 to 5.
Have
I'd be
what
surprised.
when
if
was
it's not
when
this.
was Matt did Matt talk about the yogurt thing on Ed's podcast or no?
I don't remember. What's the
I
yogurt
feel like
thing?
I feel
Remind
like
me.
he didn't. What do you mean what's the yogurt thing?
That yogurt thing. Okay.
What yogurt thing?
It
Good
took me a
Lord.
while. To be honest, the yogurt is not the part of that task that sticks in my brain.
Sorry. Let me rephrase it. Did he talk about the licking cum off of Daddy's shoes?
That's literally
with
what
Ed
that task
yet?
was. I don't know. I mean, if nothing else, we'll be hearing about it next week.
I hope so, because I need I need answers.
Yes. From the chat, I think this is better than John, though, because Matt seems so ridiculously inept with all of his tasks. He does.
Seems is the
Like,
key word here.
because, yeah, like, he has had some absolute nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
And when I came into this series, I was like, oh, goody, we're going to have two fail people. Matt and Rosie are going to absolutely lose their shit. How
Mm-hmm.
are they in first and second place?
That's a great fucking question, my guy. Like, I don't it baffles me.
Yeah. And I think it's entirely like so like really the meta on this show is to be consistent.
Mhm.
And I'd say Matt is the only one who isn't consistent. When he gets it wrong,
Yeah.
he really gets it wrong. But he knows enough about the show to kind of metagame it. So he knows what Greg will like. He knows what his strengths are and he plays to those. So he's been on top of the table forever, literally.
Yeah. Right.
While the other four have been so consistent that nothing has changed.
Yeah.
Like Fatia has been a solid third place. She really doesn't deviate that much from it.
Mm-hmm.
Jason, of course he was going to come in and wreck shit. Like, I never anticipated he would do well. Not even really knowing anything about him. Just the fact that he's an American who asked to be on this show. Like, of course that's just, I want to be on here and do all of the things I've ever imagined doing on this show. Rather
Yeah.
than I want to come on and win.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, Stevie, who is over here embarrassing your ass, like, she's the one who really wants to do well,
Mm-hmm.
but that gets in her way.
Yeah.
So, in a really weird way, they have all been absolutely consistent in the type of player that they are.
Which is wild.
Yeah, so I do think disregarding Jason just because he never wanted to win anyway. This is another
Mm-hmm.
one of those series where if you put any of them in someone else's series, they could have easily won.
Yeah. I mean, and I think this is such a strong series and it's
It
so
is.
rewatchable. And I think that this is going to be up there with a lot of people's like favorite series of all times.
Yeah.
And just like the way that they all interact with each other, there's no like one person that's kind of like side or like they all really genuine.
Oh, you've cut out.
Uh-oh. What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Okay. But yeah, they all get along with each other really well, and there's no like weak person in the group that
Hang on.
like kind of, you know.
I think I do know what's wrong. Let me see here.
What's wrong with me?
Oh shit. I've made you go away. Come back. Where'd you go?
Mm.
I don't know where you've gone.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. TK video. Hello.
Oh no.
Oh no, what
I've
did I do?
disappeared.
You have disappeared. Well, I'm just gonna. Okay,
Well,
cool.
that's our debrief, folks. See you next time.
Where have you gone?
I don't know.
Here,
Fucking bye.
I guess so.
Well,
Uh,
yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know what I did.
I mean, we're pretty much at the end anyway,
Yeah.
so it's
Oh
fine.
well, I'll fix it after. Um,
Yeah.
because I think I know why you keep cutting out. put a ghost
Oh,
image
okay.
in their frame. Yeah. I was trying to see if I could fix it on my end, but I think it's something on your end. Anyway.
just just Patatas shows up. Put me in,
Patatas.
coach.
Yeah.
All
Anyway,
right, well,
yes.
we'll see you next time for the series finale.
Yes. So we have a tradition here. My husband and I, we pop a bottle of prosecco for the winner. You gonna do
Nice.
that?
Probably not, but I'm probably gonna be moving still,
Oh my
put
god.
setting up art and stuff.
Cool, cool. Well, yeah, let's meet back here next week to talk about Matt's win.
Sounds
Because just at
good.
this point, I don't think it's possible for Rosie to overtake him.
No.
There's 19 points between them.
Yeah, that's a
Like,
lot.
that's a lot. Cool. Well, we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.